Today on Ian vs. Daddybones, we're talking about Masters of the Universe Revolution. Welcome back! It's another exciting episode of Ian vs. Daddybones. I am Ian Daddybones. I'd like to welcome everybody to the show. If you're watching on YouTube and Facebook right now, hey, thank you guys very much for tuning in. To all the Patreon subscribers, you know I got a high five and a knuck dap for all of you throwing me $3 a month to get bonus content, the Original Geeks podcast, and you get your name in the credits. But I want to start off the show by letting everybody know that, to a degree, there's going to be some changes going forward with Ian versus Daddybones. It's not a bad thing, it's a good thing. Actually, it's a great thing. If you've actually been watching the past, 2 episodes of the show, you've been noticing that there's been some bumpers and, little mini commercials playing between my edit breaks, so it's not just looking, unprofessional and awkward. So I got bumper spots. And, I have a bumper spot that I did for Big Drew Graphics because Big Drew's doing his thing right now, and Big Drew has done a lot for me over the years, and it's my way of giving back to Big Drew because he's got his store right now, and he's also done some t-shirts for me that I bought from him in addition to doing other t-shirt designs for other artists in the area. So Big Drew's a big deal, and, he deserves his flowers. So Big Drew's got that bumper spot on the show. Also, I want to thank very much Gold Ribbon Media, who have been supporting the brand since the very first episode. Their names have been in the credits on each and every episode of the show. Gold Ribbon Media decided to renew for year number 2. So now there's going to be on every episode, including the Original Geeks podcast and bonus content, there's going to be a spot for Gold Ribbon Media that y'all can check out. And Mike Rudolph and his homie Red, they got a great thing going on right now with their production, their filmmaking. They film rap videos, they've done movies. Right now they got a paranormal investigation show that they have on their YouTube channel that I think y'all should check out, and I'm even going to be putting those episodes on the Patreon for free, so y'all can check that out. So again, thank you guys very much over at Gold Ribbon Media for supporting the brand. Everybody that's been supporting the brand, I appreciate each and every one of you. And to be honest with you, I'm just going to make it crystal clear again, because we're in the first episode of February. It's really not about the $3 a month. It's basically sharing because you care. I know who's been supporting me in the past year, and I know who hasn't been supporting me in the past year, and that's okay, because as a matter of fact, I know there's a lot of lurkers, curtain jerkers, shit talkers, people laughing behind my back that Ian Daddybones is doing a toy podcast, and that's perfectly fine. I'm having a lot of fun doing my toy podcast. But at the end of the day, it seems like anytime it's getting back to me that somebody's got a problem with Ian versus Daddybones, it's always the same people. So I'm referring to y'all. I come up with my own pet name, kind of like Insane Clown Posse back in the day, coming up with the term Juggalo. So for all the haters, lurkers, and curtain jerkers, y'all are going to be referred to as hashtag the Glue Shoe Crew. Because I'm just going to keep going, keep it moving, growing my brand, going down the tracks, and y'all can stay stuck where you're at, acting like you got glue on your shoes. Because if you're still where you're at, where you were 5 years ago, that's not growth, my friend. That is not growth. But to talk about growth, we're going to grow my archives in my library by doing this fucking show. Because today, I am very excited to be talking about Masters of the Universe Revolution because it finally dropped last Friday, and at this point I binge watched all 5 episodes, at least 4 full rotations. So I've been just like eating this, you know what I mean? Like every time I watch another episode, it's like pouring another bowl of cereal. So I'm just scooping and absorbing that content, and yeah, it's highly recommended. If you got Netflix, go watch Masters of the Universe Revelation. When you're done with that, pick up with Revolution. It's fucking epic. Now, not only am I going to be talking about Masters of the Universe Revolution, but I'm also, for Patreon subscribers, I am going to be opening up Clamp Champ. And you know what? Fuck that. I'm not going to be opening this up for Patreon subscribers. I'm actually going to be opening this up today on the show. Because a lot of what takes place in Masters of the Universe Revolution ties into everything that happened in Masters of the Universe Revelation, and some of the consequences of Masters of the Universe Revelation was the death of 2 Masters of the Universe characters. They killed off Fisto and they killed off Clamp Champ. So Clamp Champ is dead in this universe of Revelation and Revolution, but something went down in Revolution that I'm going to get to in a little bit that affects Clamp Champ greatly. And, you know, part of Clamp Champ's death basically inspires a character's path for, like, their character plot. You know what I mean? You got a lot of main characters, and to tie in multiple storylines for the purpose of this season, this character's doing one thing, one character's got another mission, another character's got another mission they're doing. So in a way where everybody's stories, you know, cross over and reconnect to each other, you know, Clamp Champ is one of the reasons somebody goes on their mission, but we'll get to that in a moment. But before I get started on everything Masters of the Universe Revolution, I do want to say that on the table right now is a sneak peek of what to expect this month in February. To my right, your left, I can officially say I've completed my Ghostbusters squad. If you remember, on the last episode, I grabbed the Ecto one, and I had 2 out of the 4 Ghostbusters. But in the past week, I managed to get the 2 adults, so now I have the 4 Ghostbusters together, as well as the Ecto one. So I'm really excited to open those up, because Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, today as a matter of fact, they released the first full-length trailer, not just the teaser trailer, but the first full-length trailer was revealed today. So this movie's going to be coming out soon, and it looks really great. And for those of you who are Patreon subscribers, there is an episode of the Original Geeks podcast up where I talk about Ghostbusters Afterlife, because between the last episode of the show and this episode of the show, I was able to grab Ghostbusters Afterlife on sale digitally. So I finally did get a chance to sit down and watch that movie. I was absolutely blown away at it. Kind of kicking myself for waiting so long to see Ghostbusters Afterlife. But I talk about all of that on the Original Geeks podcast. So support the brand. It's only $3 a month. And at this point, there's over 105 bonus episodes and content available up there. You get your name in the credits, and you get the Original Geeks podcast. Because, I mean, this show's free, but there's a whole second show that's available on the Patreon. But to your right and my left, this is going to be the big Patreon deal of the month. Like, I know I said I was going to save Clamp Champ for the Patreon, but that was really just so I could continue talking about Revolution so I could eventually get to this. But the real Patreon bonus for this month, I am officially going to build the Masters of the Universe Mega Eternia playset, 646 pieces, and this is basically a prelude to another thing that's been on my mind a lot lately, and that's my Eternia crowdfund that I took care of last year. And Eternia is going to be shipping this spring, and I'm looking very forward to it. I'm super excited. And, you know, from the time I started that crowdfund until paying it off, in that year, Mattel wound up dropping this, and, you know, this Eternia tower is only one of 3 towers that make up the Eternia playset. And there's 2 more playsets that should be coming out. Hopefully one more will be coming out this year, and I'm kind of thinking positive that that's going to be happening, because between the crowdfund, Masters of the Universe, Revelation, and Revolution, Eternia is becoming a big deal right now in the world of Masters of the Universe, which is saying a lot, because the original Eternia came out at the end of the original toy line in the 80s. Like, Eternia came out and hit retail in 1986, but the problem with Eternia was they promoted Eternia more through the Masters of the Universe magazine that was available at newsstands and grocery stores and shit than they did with television commercials. Because I remember seeing about Eternia in the magazines, not really understanding what this is, because I'm not seeing anything on TV, there's no commercials, and next thing I know, Masters of the Universe is a dead brand, and I only ever remember seeing Eternia on the shelf once, and that was like Christmas of 1987 when I was out with my uncles and my dad and we were at a Kmart and shit. But I'm going to be building this for Patreon subscribers, and I'm kind of be going all out with this, because this is going to be like my sole Patreon bonus for the month, and it's going to be split into multiple parts. At least that's my start. I'm planning on doing it in multiple parts, and if it's not in multiple parts, it's definitely going to be more than an extended episode. So subscribe to the Patreon. If you're that stingy about the $3, then don't worry, AJ Styles. I got free trials for 7 days. You can't. It's a win for you. You can definitely check that shit out over the course of February. But Masters of the Universe Revolution. Where to begin? Again, my excitement began when we got a teaser image with a logo for Revolution that showed King Randor's crown with Skeletor's reflection in it, and San Diego Comic-Con came and a clip was shown to people in attendance, and that clip was captured on people's phones and uploaded to their YouTube channels. So the Comic-Con footage, which basically showed a scene involving He-Man fighting Scareglow, and King Randor showed up, and at some point Scareglow was like defeated by He-Man, but then Scareglow came back and he kind of mutated into a second form. He evolved to where he had like spider legs and started crawling around and stuff. So we saw a completely different form for him. But that was the only clip that was shown, and that was back in July. So you had July until October, where you had New York City Comic Con. And by that point in time, so many people on the internet were talking about it. People were getting excited, even though a lot of people complained about Masters of the Universe Revelation. And while I've been talking about Revelation over the course of the entire existence of the show, especially with opening up the Masterverse figures, like, I've done my fair share of talking about Revelation, but I haven't done an actual episode where I just focused entirely on the show, especially considering it was 2 5-episode parts. And, now that I think about it for a mental note, I may do that coming up soon on Ian versus Daddybones. But, there was a whole process. You had a sneak peek, you had a poster reveal, then there was a teaser trailer, and then there was a full-length trailer, and it's like, oh my god, this is getting good. And it's like, the teaser trailer showed some things, but then the full-length trailer showed more stuff. And since I'm talking about the trailers, both of the trailers, I did a watch-along up on the Patreon that you guys can go check out, where I watched both teaser and full-length trailers for Masters of the Universe Revolution, and I gave my full synopsis rundown of the trailers, and I had a lot of fun doing that. But even before I pressed play on my remote and started watching the first episode, I already knew what to expect with some things going down this season that was pretty easy to identify in the trailer. For starters, the teaser poster alone showed Burger King Randy's crown with Skeletor's reflection in it. And the teaser made it be clear that King Randor is going to die. Burger King Randy died in Masters of the Universe Revolution. Like that scene from Comic-Con where he shows up to help He-Man. Burger King Randy, in the first episode, like, they're going... the whole reason Prince Adam and Orko, because it starts off with Prince Adam and Orko going to Subternia, where Scareglow resides. And Adam was going there as basically just a goodwill ambassador on behalf of the kingdom to basically try and convince Scareglow, because Evil Lynn went nuts in the last season when she was in God mode. She basically destroyed Preternia. And Preternia is Masters of the Universe's equivalent of heaven. Okay? In Preternia, that's where the 3 towers of Eternia reside. Kind of like the heavenly gates, you have the 3 towers of Eternia. So basically, I crowdfunded heaven, y'all. And I guess that makes sense, because it's like my holy grail of the collection. But the thing is, like, Eternia is, like, present in Preternia, and that's basically where, all their fallen warriors get to get their eternal reward. They get to live in Eternia, and, live in Preternia amongst the 3 towers. So, Adam's down there to barter with Scareglow to get Fisto and Clampchamp's souls back. Because the sorceress, Teela, the sorceress was killed in the last season. Teela is the new sorceress. Teela, basically, like I said, Evil Lynn went nuts when she was in God mode, destroyed Preternia. So now all the souls have nowhere to rest. And Scareglow's basically collecting them all like Pokemon. And Teela is on a mission to try and restore Preternia and bring it back. The only problem is, even though she's a sorceress, she's not strong enough to channel all that power and use that magic to bring back Preternia. So that's like Teela's mission in this whole entire 5-episode season. You got Teela trying to understand different magics. So basically, Teela contacts Granomir, who in Granomir is this character who's this ancient dragon. And Granomir is from the back in the day mini comics. Granomir's appeared in the Filmation series. Like, Masters of the Universe fans know who the fuck Granomir is. So the fact that Granomir showed up in this is a really big deal. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Going back, Adam is trying to barter with Scareglow to get the souls of Fisto and Clamchamp, whose names are Malcolm and Rainius. Rainius for Clamchamp, Malcolm for Fisto, and that's extended additional canon that's been like added over the years, especially through like the Masters of the Universe Classics line. So he's trying to get their souls back, and Scareglow's like, nah, it's not happening, dude. Go fuck yourself. They're mine. As a matter of fact, I got room on my shelf for y'all. So Scareglow says, you know what? By the name. What's your name? And then it gives the perfect moment for Prince Adam to be like, my name is Adam, Prince of Eternia. So anyway, he winds up turning into He-Man, and He-Man and Scareglow are going at it. Meanwhile, outside, right, friggin' Burger King Randy and Andra, basically the black girl from the first season that all the fucking, dickhead collectors were all crying and complaining about, is the new Man-at-Arms, because Man-at-Arms is now going by Man of War. So now Man-at-Arms now has like a White Ranger version of his Man-at-Arms outfit that's more like if Man-at-Arms was Iron Man, and he looks pretty fucking dope. So you got Man of War, Man-at-Arms, and they're all fucking trying to basically fighting the good fight to like get their buddy's souls back, and Scareglow sends his shadow beasts to like go attack everybody, and so shit's going down. There's a battle and whatnot, and Burger King Randy, the old dog wants to get in the fight, but the thing is, he's sick. He hasn't told anybody, and basically, he winds up getting in what looks like a Hulkbuster armor version of like Man-at-Arms in like Battle Cat's colors. And then Burger King Randy shows up to assist Adam and He-Man like fighting Scareglow. Long story short, they leave. They trap Scareglow in Subternia. But then on the ship, Burger King Randy is like trying to celebrate with everybody for a job well done. Then he fucking collapses and falls on the ground. And everyone's like, you're my king. And, Adam's like, Dad. And so Burger King Randy fucking dies. And He-Man's next in line to be king. So Adam's not sure, but Burger King Randy told He-Man, you gotta make a choice. Or told Adam, you gotta make a choice. You can either be king as He-Man or be king as Adam. You can't be king as both. And so it's Adam's trying to make a decision if he wants to give up the power and not be He-Man anymore and just be King Adam, or if he wants to be He-Man forever and basically just be King He-Man. So he's trying to figure out what to do, and then he decides, the best way to come up with a solution and figure this out is I'm going to talk to my people. So he goes to address the public, and he basically explains how he's feeling and is like, I'm not sure what to do. And then a voice in the crowd yells, then don't accept the crown. And then everyone's like, who said that? And then it points to a guy who he says, I said that. And like takes his cloak off, and it's revealed to be Keldor. Keldor was Skeletor's secret origin from the vintage line that never got to be explored, even though it's been explored in comic book form. It's been explored in the Netflix 2021 CG animated He-Man and the Masters of the Universe series. And in the Origins line that I collect, Keldor also finally got a figure. So basically, there's a version of Skeletor that's got long black hair, a black mustache, and basically kind of looks like a blue-skinned version of Jafar from fucking Aladdin. So Keldor shows up, and you're like, what the fuck? And then the episode ends. So when we come back with the second episode, we basically find out that Keldor is still alive, and Adam is meeting Keldor, and basically learns that, like, or actually, let me rewind, because I gotta think, like, I think they came under attack, but long story short, Skeletor and his forces showed up, and this is the first time we've seen Skeletor, right? Like, since he got corrupted by Motherboard in the end of the last season. So Skeletor is back, and we see what Motherboard did to Skeletor, and he's all teched out, and he's got like robot legs, and his Havoc staff was like fused to his right arm, and you know, he looks, it's a completely brand new look for Skeletor. So as a lifelong Masters of the Universe fan, I think it's a pretty sick look for Skeletor. Like, I'm not bitching and complaining about it, like, fucking really? You know, I have no problem with it. But Skeletor and his forces show up, and basically, you know, it's the techno, you know, version of Skeletor's goons, like Trapjaw and Triclops, and Whiplash is there, and, you know, basically, you find out at the end of the first season that Motherboard is like a front for the evil Horde, and Hordak makes his presence known in this season, but Hordak hasn't showed up yet. Skeletor and the Masters all get into it, and at some point, some giant like nanobot titan, you know what I mean, like pops up out of the ground, and like this giant walking creature, and Keldor comes up with the solution on how to take it down, and they manage to drive Skeletor's forces away, but He-Man is very impressed with Keldor's bravery. And the more He-Man and Adam think about it, as he talks to Keldor, he learns that Keldor is his father's brother, his father's half-brother, his father's older half-brother, who technically should be king. And basically, Keldor, I know the story from comics, but King Miro, Burger King Randy's dad, He-Man's grandpa, King Miro, cheated on his wife with this Gar woman named Saren. And Saren got pregnant, and in the comics, Saren became a witch. And Miro had to kill her in a battle. But Miro took the baby and decided to raise their child with his wife, but he kind of lied to his wife and basically said he found this orphan boy. So this is where, like, the Loki, Thor, Odin dynamic, like, comes into, like, Masters of the Universe. Because, in my honest opinion, Masters of the Universe ain't shit. But if Star Wars fucked Thor. I mean, it totally is when you really look at it. Between the whole Miro, Randor, Keldor, Thor, Odin, Loki, and then if you look at He-Man being Skeletor's nephew, all it is a differently labeled, "No, Luke, I am your father." You know what I mean? And it's right fucking there. And to me, I absolutely love it. But you had Randor and Keldor as little boys, and there's a flashback scene where Randor's mother basically tells Miro, "You need to make a decision, okay? Because if you take him back home, he's gonna be an outcast. But if you keep him, he's never gonna be able to accept his birthright because he comes from the Gar. He comes from Anwak Gar. That's the island that Keldor is from. He's blue. The race of the blue-skinned people is Gar. So she's basically saying, you know what, Miro? You're a bitch because you can't put the crown on Keldor because your kingdom is full of a bunch of fucking racists that, God forbid, we put a crown on a blue-skinned motherfucker who deserves it. But instead, you're gonna play political bullshit. Let's take the kid I rescued that made with my penis because I cheated on my wife. Let's take him back to his original home so I can abandon him, so I can go to the store for 20 years. And Randor goes, and you know what I mean? So Randor is like then the only royal son, and Randor becomes the king. And I'm not saying Burger King Randy's a scumbag, but there is a scene where both boys hear this discussion from their parents. And in the story, after Miro returned Keldor, that's when Hordak and the Horde showed up to Anwak Gar and basically destroyed it. Kind of like Thanos showing up on Gamora's planet and then taking Gamora. Hordak wound up taking Keldor. So then Hordak trained, raised Skeletor before he was Skeletor. So Keldor was his Anakin Skywalker apprentice to Hordak's Palpatine, but we only got 5 episodes. We haven't really fully gotten all of the flashbacks, if there's going to be more flashbacks. So we only saw what they wanted to show us in these 5 episodes, so we don't know the whole story of his entire time spent with Hordak. All I know is that at some point Hordak used dark magic on Keldor to basically permanently mark him and melt his fucking skin off his face. That's how he became Skeletor in this universe. But once Hordak took Keldor under his wing and he turned him into Skeletor, he basically put a mental lock on him and blocked out those memories, kind of like the way King Candy did the same thing to Vanellope von Schweetz in Wreck-It Ralph. You know what I mean? She just thinks she's a glitch. I don't know what's wrong with me. I can't escape this game. All these fucking candy bugs are gonna they're gonna shut my game down and I'm gonna die because I can't escape with the rest of y'all. But there comes a moment where basically there comes a time where the twist happens. And the twist happens is He-Man makes the decision and he names Keldor King of Eternia. And Keldor greets his public and, you know, he's waving at everybody and, you know, he's officially the new king. So now we have King Keldor, whose Masterverse figure was the mystery figure that was part of Wave 12, which is coming out this spring with New Eternia Triclops. There's New Eternia Mechanic, Battle Armor He-Man from Revolution, and King Keldor from Revolution. That was actually revealed like Christmas Eve, Christmas morning. We finally got to see what the fourth figure in the wave was, and that itself gave away some information. You know what I mean? Like a month before we got these 5 episodes, I knew as a collector and as a Masters of the Universe fan that Keldor is going to be in Revolution. Don't know exactly how it's going to play out, but he's already important enough to warrant a figure being made in the line. But the reality is, you know, He-Man and Keldor are talking after Keldor is king. And Keldor basically tells He-Man, you know, I wouldn't wait for Skeletor to make the first move on us. I would make the first move on Skeletor for once. And basically let him know, you're not gonna fuck with us anymore. And He-Man's like thinking, I mean, he doesn't say it like that, I said it like that. But He-Man's like, you know what, that's not a bad idea. So then, they get an army together, and then they go to take the fight to Skeletor. And the thing is, Motherboard. Now, these guys leave, and this is where He-Man's rocking the battle armor during this season. But like, He-Man's headed to Skeletor, and I gotta pause the battle at the moment because this ties into Teela's story. Because, like I said, Evil Lynn destroyed Preternia. You know, she was irresponsible and reckless, and look what you've done. And Teela has to fix it, but Teela's gotta become a more powerful sorceress. So you find out that Teela has to learn different types of magic. So you find out from Granomir that Teela needs to understand snake magic, and she needs to understand havoc magic. And once she understands the 3 magics, then she'll be powerful enough to bring back Preternia, or should be powerful enough to bring back Eternia. And that's when Teela runs into Evil Lynn, and you find out that Evil Lynn, as penance, is kind of being Granomir's caregiver, because basically Granomir's on fucking hospice, y'all. He's dying. And Teela's like, I really need your help. And Granomir's like, fuck you. And he's not willing to help Teela. And it takes Teela and Evil Lynn convincing Granomir to like, come on, just throw us a bone, dude. She needs to understand snake magic. And so Granomir like rises Teela up in the air and like uses his magic to frickin' teach her the snake magic and what, well, makes it to give her the Staff of Ka, which is interesting because in the 80s, Teela had like this snake armor and this snake staff, but when you saw Teela in the cartoon, she wasn't wearing that shit. She was, you know, red-haired Teela, you know, in her outfit, captain of the guard, and, you know, she basically had 2 different looks, but a lot of the old-ass vintage Masters of the Universe art always shows Teela wearing the snake armor. The reality is, she only had the snake armor because Teela and the version wearing the snake armor were supposed to be 2 different fucking characters. But we'll get into that later because I have a green goddess to open up, and yeah, we're going to be talking about that. But basically, with Teela, Granomir makes it to where Teela gets the snake armor, Teela turns green, Teela gets the Wrath of Ka. So, but then Teela has to learn how to use the snake magic, and then she and Evil Lynn are like sparring, and it's funny, you find out that Evil Lynn starts talking shit to Teela during the training about like how her real feelings for Adam, and then Teela's getting real pissed off, and basically it's kind of one of those funny chuckle moments once you get it, that basically in order to fully understand snake magic, Teela has to get horny as she's getting angry. You know what I mean? So basically it'd be like if Bruce Banner needed to get a massive hard-on before he turned into the Incredible Hulk. I don't even want to think about that, so I'm going to keep it going for the purpose of everybody. But Teela understands the three snake magic, or well, not three snake magic, the three different magics she needs to complete her quest. So spoiler alert, yeah, she does bring back Pre-Eternia at the end of the 5 episodes, but that's just to let y'all know where the fuck Teela's going. So He-Man's going over here, she's going over there, which means Grayskull is unprotected, y'all. Castle Grayskull is unprotected, and also, mind you, rewind. He-Man's on a mission too because Man-at-Arms is on a mission too with Orko because they need He-Man. Okay, Skeletor, when he makes his arrival, Skeletor kind of goes into like Green Goblin mode where like he's like throwing pumpkin bombs, but they're not pumpkin bombs. They're Skeletor bombs with like motherboard corruptible nanites that basically turn the innocent people of Eternia into mindful zombies of motherboard. So it's one of those things where the citizens of Eternia are attacking everybody and being loyal to Skeletor and motherboard. And yeah, man, it's just really fucking sick because Grayskull's unprotected. Motherboard shows up. Motherboard's able to infiltrate Castle Grayskull and basically take it over. And so it's like she gets in the throne room, and then she's got all these cables coming out of her that like connect itself inside Castle Grayskull, and basically she starts like just corrupting Castle Grayskull. So it gets like this like teched out like black gray, like magenta pink red lights and whatnot. It really looks pretty fucking freaky. So I'm hoping to God they don't decide to turn that into a crowdfund, because honestly, I really don't know if I have another $550 for like dubstep Castle Grayskull. I don't know. But she winds up taking over Castle Grayskull. But the thing is, when the people get corrupted by the nanites, He-Man realizes when he's able to save a little boy, he's able to use the power of Grayskull to reverse the nanite corruption and turn them back to normal people, but the sword itself isn't powerful enough to like fix everybody in Eternia. Well, maybe if we could amplify the power. So then Orko and Man-at-Arms go and seek out Gwildor. Gwildor was one of the characters that was introduced in the Masters of the Universe movie, basically because technology wasn't able to do Orko correctly. Gwildor was the makeshift Orko for the movie, but Gwildor was finally added to animated Masters of the Universe canon, so it was really fucking cool. And spoiler alert, there's an Easter egg when you meet Gwildor. The pink Cadillac from the movie is visible in the background, so that's pretty fucking dope. But they meet Gwildor because they basically realize they need to come up with a way to infuse technology with magic to amplify He-Man's power sword. So basically they wind up turning He-Man's power sword and basically into like, trying to say, what the hell, it's one of those, I don't know what I'm trying to say other than the fact that it's a really big deal. But it basically makes me think of video games, like with like a level up meter. You know what I mean? Like say Street Fighter, you got to fill your gauge once. You could do this special move. If you fill it up twice, you could do kind of like in wrestling games. You know what I mean? Stacking finishers and shit. If you got one, you could do this move. If you got two, you could do this move. So basically, what it is they like remixed He-Man's power sword and basically added a fucking stackable power gauge. So as He-Man's collected like Havoc magic or whatnot, and he's able to basically fill up these meters. And then once he's able to fill up the meters, then the technological side of the new power sword basically splits in half, separates into like two blades while still being one blade, which reminds a lot of people of the 2000X Masters of the Universe tech power sword. Because in that universe, his He-Man's original sword was like destroyed, so Man-at-Arms made He-Man like this tech sword and whatnot. And yeah, so He-Man's like, that's He-Man's mission, to try and get the sword like amplified and whatnot. And yeah, so you got all these different fucking shit going on. And then Hordak shows up, right? But this is the thing. I gotta bring it back, because right before Hordak shows up, or actually I think Hordak shows up to do an invasion, but what's going on is once Motherboard shows up, that's when Keldor basically turns on the Masters, and everybody's like, oh my god, that fucker played us. You know, so now Keldor's king, but at the same time, MOTU fans are like, what the fuck's going on? How is there a Skeletor and a Keldor? What is going on here? So, long story short, what we find out once Hordak shows up is that the other twist is that Motherboard and Skeletor were using cloaking devices, which is basically taking taking what the shaping staff did in the first season. Were able to cloak themselves to where Skeletor was being Keldor, and Motherboard was pretending to be Skeletor. So, the way it really worked out is, once Hordak showed up, Keldor had the crown, and Keldor basically went to greet Motherboard and Keldor. That's when it was revealed that, oh, hold on, I'm rewinding, I'm skipping a part. After they took over Grayskull, Hordak wasn't there yet, because Motherboard went to report to Hordak and let her know that, you know, the Keldor plan is working and whatnot. And then Skeletor shows up and he's like, oh, it was lovely. And, you know, and he was just being Skeletor and saying it was a magnificent plan. It totally worked. And then Motherboard's like looking at Skeletor like, I didn't tell you to talk. And then when basically they end, you know, when they get done FaceTiming Hordak, Motherboard just beats the shit out of Skeletor. You know, like, don't you ever step on my toes again. You work for me. If I'm talking to him, you keep your fucking mouth shut. Don't ever do that again. And she just proceeded to beat the shit out of him and whatnot. Well, during the course of that, Motherboard wound up knocking loose whatever mental block Hordak placed on Skeletor. So now Skeletor is getting like flashbacks of like how he became Skeletor. So now he's like, holy shit. Like, you know, but he's loving it at the same time because he really is the rightful king. So, you know, overall, like, was such an adventure and such a ride for what we got with this season, because like shit goes down and it's such a wonderful story that it was like, I mean, we're talking 5 30-minute episodes, so it's like you're looking at it 2.5 hours, you know. It basically goes up and you can watch all 5 episodes like a long ass fucking movie. Like, totally worth it. It was, you know, totally worth the wait. Such a fun episode. It's like one of those episodes. It's one of those things where it was just soaking it in so quickly as I'm watching it. The next thing I know, the final episode just ended, and it's like, I need to start that over from the beginning again, because I know I missed a lot of shit. So it's like, some stuff is just sketched out. Now I gotta go over it with ink and really make that shit just pop in my memory. And like I said, I absolutely had a blast with Masters of the Universe Revolution. I can't get enough of it. A lot of people don't know what to think going forward from Masters of the Universe Revolution, because there's definitely a scene that aired before the episode ended that definitely leaves it on a cliffhanger. But the direction of where they're going with the cliffhanger remains to be seen, and that particular part of Revolution I'm going to save for another episode, because there is a comic book coming out, and yeah, I don't really want to get into it too much, because I'm going to save it until I read the comic to see if they're going to have any more clues as to where they're going in the future with this. But But yeah, like I said, edit breaks. Overall, highly recommended. If you got 2.5 hours to invest in something new and you're sick of watching the same old shit, check out Revolution. But I'm going to go ahead and get out of here in a bit. But before I do, it's officially time to let Rainius out of his plastic prison. Clamp Champ. The back of his box, it says, "Evil warriors better get a grip, or Clamp Champ will give them one." Armed with his techno clamp, the heroic master of capture puts his enemies in a pinch in the battlefield. As one of Eternia's greatest heroes, he protects the royal palace from the evil forces of Skeletor. Unfortunately, until he's corrupted by Skeletor's dark magic, which basically turns Fisto and Clamp Champ into two of Skeletor's, disposable skeleton goons. And, unfortunately, he has to be put down by his homies because they're all corrupted and evil. And, at least if they take them out, they can at least go to Preternia and have their heavenly rest. But that's before Evil Lyn destroys it. But either way, like I said, Scareglow has his soul, and it's kind of funny because Scareglow, holds on to everybody's souls and whatnot, but their souls take the shape of, something close to them or represents them. Scareglow, Fisto's soul happened to be in the shape of, a smoky, ghastly, ghostly looking Fisto fist. And Clamp Champ's clamp was the shape of his form. And so it's actually kind of funny because during the battle with Scareglow actually winds up using Fisto and Clamp Champ's weapons against He-Man during that battle. Because they fly at Scareglow and he's catches them on his hands and shit. But Clamp Champ overall, let's see here. He's got his clamp weapon. That's gonna be the first thing we take out. But it looks like, oh wow. All right. I'm not just gonna take that out because that's actually attached to him. But there we go. Easy getting him out of his plastic. He comes with just the figure, his weapons, and he comes with 2 additional hands. So he's kind of light on the accessories, but, the original character, I want to say, was light on the accessories because all he had was his clamp weapon. But I gotta say, Clamp Champ's a super dope figure overall because, honestly, looking back on the way I was growing up, especially, getting older, going from a child to a teenager to an adult. One of these days I'll grow up. But basically, I have a lot of racist relatives. And let's just say that if I asked for Clamp Champ for Christmas, I never got Clamp Champ for Christmas. And he was a character that I really always wanted as a kid, but I had relatives that, I'm not going to buy you the black one, I'll just get you one of the other ones. That's basically what the mentality was. And I never got to have Clamp Champ as a kid, but I wanted him very badly. And I was able to get Clamp Champ in Masters of the Universe. Now, originally in my head, when I opened these figures, I was going to have the Masterverse and the Origins counterparts together. Now, I was able to do that more on the earlier episodes of Ian versus Daddybones, but right now I'm trying. There's a wrestler in our area, Little Daddy C. I bought 2 cabinets from him over this past summer for the purpose of putting, action figures and toys in these display cabinets. And I put one of them together, but the other cabinet I still have in the box because I'm still trying to figure out where I can put it without worrying about a 3-year-old destroying it. So I have one built, and I still have one in the box, but I wanted to say that until I get that second cabinet built, all of my Origins figures I have in a Rubbermaid tote. And that's where Clamp Champ is right now. So I wasn't able to easily access Clamp Champ to have him here today on the show. I got Clamp Champ in my last box of Ian that I opened up at the beginning of the year, and I got a new box of Ian on its way, so I'm going to be opening up another box of upcoming stuff I'm going to be opening up on the show, and it's going to be really fucking sick. I can't wait to open it up and let you all look inside my beautiful box. But Clamp Champ looks absolutely spectacular. You know, he's got his silver and blue armor that he was rocking back in the day, and now it's a lot more shinier and shimmery. He's got his red furry pants and his silver belt. Now, from the way mine was in the packaging, his one piece of fur seems to be sticking up on the side, but I'm sure that will go down eventually now that he's out of the plastic. But he's got his black boots with the red fur, and he's got his clamp weapon, which looks absolutely sick. I mean, like I said, I never had him as a kid. I have his Origins figure, and his Origins figure comes with like his Origins clamp, which isn't a bad weapon accessory. I just know that my Clamp Champ, his clamp in the Origins figure seems to be a little too heavy for the figure, and I have to have him like posed in the right way or he's gonna fall over. And this figure, I haven't taken it apart yet, but I'm sure it does show me underneath the box. But I guess this clamp does separate so it can like stay permanently attached on his arm, and I think that's absolutely sick because not only is he standing up perfectly, but he's got that extra weight on his right arm. So I just think he looks spectacular. He looked amazing in his packaging. He looked amazing in all the pictures I've seen of him online, and I'm really glad to have him added to my collection because he was part of Wave 10 with Web Store Prince Adam and the Horde version of Skeletor, which I will say is in the next box of Ian along with Tech Skeletor. So I got two new Skeletors to open up on a future episode of the show. But everybody, thank you very much for watching. If you really fuck with me and support me, I truly appreciate each and every one of you. It's just hard to tell these days who's real and who's fake as fuck. But I know everybody smashing that share button is rooting for all of us involved with Ian versus Daddybones. And for that, I say thank you. If you want to subscribe to the Patreon, $3. You get a 7-day free trial. The YouTube channel is free to subscribe to. You can like me on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We are back on TikTok. Not that we were off TikTok. I just wasn't using it as much. But I started using a new service for the purpose of the show, where I got AI bots watching my shit. Not to give me views, but they're watching my shit so they can edit the episodes of Ian versus Daddybones and all these little baby viral little fucking social media videos. So thanks to that shit, I've been getting a hell of a lot of views on the TikTok, and I've been using that a hell of a lot more. So go follow us on TikTok, Instagram. You can like the Facebook page. I mean, I got X, but I barely use it. We're on Threads, and I don't think anybody uses it. But until next time, cheers, Pete!
Where will I be when I run out of luck? Get hit by a truck or get stuck on the railroad tracks. When shit goes amok and life starts to suck, you're stuck cause you never go. Where will I be when I run out of luck? Get hit by a truck or get stuck on the railroad tracks. When shit goes amok and life starts to suck, you're stuck cause you never go back. I ain't no hippie and I ain't no punk. I don't smoke crack and I don't do junk. I'll just sit down and smoke a fat bong, pull out my guitar and sing a fast song. There's your motherfucking American Idol, putting $2 a gallon down the gas hole. 10 million votes for the next asshole. I'll just put on my engineer's hat, sit back and relax while we speed down the tracks. I'll read the book just to spit out the facts.
Where will I be when I run out of luck? Get hit by a truck or get stuck on the railroad tracks.
When shit goes amok and life starts to suck, you're stuck cause you never go back. Where will I be when I run out of luck? Get hit by a truck or get stuck on the railroad tracks. When shit goes amok and life starts to suck, you're stuck cause you never go back.
Where will I be when I run out of luck? Get hit by a truck or get stuck on the railroad tracks. When shit goes amok and life starts to suck, get stuck cause you never go back.
Where will I be when I run out of luck? Get hit by a truck or get stuck on the railroad tracks.
When shit goes amok and life starts to suck, you're stuck cause you never go back.
Sneak up your driveway all calm and collective, tripping balls like an underground detective. Need some new shit, but my funds are running low. I spend it on weed, truth, fear, and blow. Living life like a cartoon, just flipping the page as I'm staring down the barrel of a 12 gauge. Shotty to the body and it's got me open, shaking so bad, think my legs are broken. I'm choking on the smoke and coughing up the shot, waking up from a dream. These drugs are high. Chasing strychnine with kind and beer with whiskey. Sing a lullaby and I'm sorry you missed me.
You can't hide and you can't pretend, cause I'll punch you out like